Yo, what is up, everybody? I hope you all are having a wonderful and awesome day. My name is Jerome, and welcome to the channel. Man, I just got back from a trip about 4 or 5 days in LA, and I'm glad to be back. But while I was on that trip, like many others, I was hoping that the ban list was going to come out, but unfortunately, it hasn't happened. Like, no one knows where it's at or anything like that. But today we're going to be exploring that. And before we do that, remember to like, and as always, please subscribe. We're on a journey right now to reaching 1,000 subs. So join the fam. Anyways, I just want to first start off by saying that this is why I think that the ban list isn't coming out. So I know what you're thinking. You're about to click off the video because of the title and everything. But look, trust me, all right? I have a really good reason why I think the ban list hasn't came out yet, and why we haven't even seen a teaser or anything at all. And I'm gonna go ahead and try to get into it and explain it. So first off, I want you to think about this not as a player, but as a business person, someone who's working at the office at Konami, probably working on the ban list itself. So just put yourself in that kind of perspective, right? Put yourself as that person. Now, we're going to go back to here, to May 17th, when this forbidden list came out, the one that we're currently in, right? Obviously, it says that it's not going to come out until after a few months, right? Which that should be August. Should be August. That's a few. So it should have already happened, but it hasn't. So a lot of people are wondering what's going on. Well, if you go back to this time when this ban list came out, what happened during this time? Well, a lot of decks came up. A lot of decks came out that were good. You had branded. You also had like Predaplant branded. You had Therions. You had Punks doing their thing. You had a lot of tier 1 decks, right? Drytron, you had so many tier 1 decks. And the meta was actually, pretty good, all around the table. I mean, a lot of people had so much fun playing all these different kind of decks that they were enjoying, right? And then what happened 3 months later? Well, Power of the Elements came out, where essentially you just had the two Titan decks that came out that are what is today's Forerunners, which is Sprites and Tearlaments, which is no secret that those are the top best decks right now. And so if the ban list came out, like what a lot of people thought, even I thought, if the ban list came out in August, what would have happened? And I'll tell you, absolutely nothing would have happened, right? They would have had to hit cards that were good before Power of the Elements, right? That was in that era, that was good, like branded and stuff. They would have had to hit branded cards. They would have had to hit probably like E-Telly. They would have had to hit obviously the adventure stuff, maybe even Sword Soul cards. Like, they would have had to hit some of those because those were the best decks that were really consistent. But when Sprites and Tearlaments came out, they pretty much just kicked those decks out, right? They pretty much knocked all those decks right down to the next tier, and they just took the spot as the top two best decks. And so if you nerf anything in the tier 2 category, right, would that change the meta at all? Probably not, right? Nothing would happen. Like, think about it. If you hit branded or anything like that, would that affect Sprites or Tearlament? It wouldn't. They would still be the top two best decks. So I think Konami, right, is like, I think what they're doing is they saw that they did that. They released Power of the Elements kind of at a shitty time. Let's be real. It was a good time for, I would say, us, but a bad time for them as a company, because they're kind of like, all right, we released this, but we pretty much released it at the time that we should have not done it, because the ban list should have came out. And now we're kind of forcing our player base to play two decks. And if we put the ban list out that hits anything that was good from the last format, it will guarantee everyone to have to play those two decks, which what would happen? A lot of people would stop playing the game, right? Because a lot of people don't like when it's just one or two decks that they can play and nothing else like matters, right? No one, a lot of people don't like that. I don't like that. And I'm already seeing a lot of people like taking a break or quitting because they don't like how it's just two decks right now. So, putting yourself as a business person and you're working at Konami and trying to make money, That's, trying to have so many people play the game so you can make a lot of money, yada yada yada. That is a bad thing to happen for them to do that, to have only 2 decks that are playable. So I think what they're trying to do now, this could be a stretch, but I think logically this is what's happened, is that they realized that that was such a bad timing. So they're saying, okay, this is what we'll do. We'll have our cake and eat it too. We will release the Power of the Elements, let them play it, try to make as much money as we can off of that set, right? And let the players have as much fun as they possibly can with those decks. And we will push back, right? We will push back the ban list like a month or a month and a half, or maybe even 2 months. So then we can hit those 2 decks as well. So then that will force people to, it will kind of force the game back into this open meta stage, like how we just was before Power of the Elements came out, right? Everyone was happy. I think their player base was like really high too during that time as well. And I think Konami saw that and they were like, holy crap, we got a lot of people. We need to make that happen again. So how do we do that? We push the ban list back some. So then, right, everyone can get their little fun playing sprites and tier limits at full power. And then after that, we hit them, but we don't hit the actual sprite or tier limit cards. We just hit the cards that help them be what they are. Such as for like sprites, it would obviously be totally awesome. It would be like Swap Frog, right? Those are the 2 biggest names that come up a lot. For tier limit, I'm not really sure what that would be, because personally, I haven't played tier limit myself. I played against it, but I haven't played the deck myself. I really want to play the deck, but I'm guessing I'm just gonna have to hold off into that until later, until like maybe they come down in price, because I'm not trying to drop a lot of money like a different sprites. So I hear a lot of people say that Fairy Tail Snow would get banned. I said the same thing. I just don't know exactly what is a card that's helping tier limits out to be such a really strong deck, because they're really good being pure themselves. But what is the card that's not a tier limit name that is really helping them out to achieve the top spot next to Sprite, right? But I know for sprites, it's totally awesome, and it's Swap Frog. It's one of those 2. I know for a fact one of those is. I know, like, if I'm right about this situation that Konami's thinking about, if I'm right about it, that means that Totally Awesome will probably be banned, right? Or what some people think, Swap Frog to 1, so then you can still play Toad, and sprites, and you can still play it in other decks. But then again, they could just want to kill the card itself that is causing the deck to be just an annoyance, which is Toad itself. I'm going out on a limb and I'm saying that that's probably what's happening, right? They're probably doing that. So then when that ban list happens and those cards get hit that help them be such a powerful deck, that should be just enough, right? Just enough to allow the decks that were in tier 2 category to come up to the tier 1. So then we'll have this open meta all over again. And I think that's what Konami's trying to do. They're trying to get that open meta again, but they don't want to make the player base upset for the people that paid a lot of money to get these decks early on, tier limits and sprites, right? They don't want to hit them, because think about it, if the ban list came out in August, like how we thought was going to happen, again, it would change nothing. Sprites and tier limits would still be the best. If it came out at the beginning of September, what would happen? Nothing would happen. Sprites and tier limits still be the best, right? But if it comes out at the end of September or the middle of September, or maybe the beginning of October, and they hit tier limit, like a card for tier limits, a card for sprite, that will open up the meta again for a lot of other decks to be played. Now we take it back to let's say the beginning of September. If they drop the ban list in the beginning of September, hitting Toad, or hitting a tier limit card or whatever, what would happen? That would open up the game state again, right? The meta would be opened up again. But the problem with that is that a lot of people are going to be upset that they didn't get to go to these big events playing the deck that they wanted to at full power, right? That's what would have happened. And also, including myself, I would have been upset because I spent money on it just for it to get nerfed a month later, right? So I think that is the kind of dilemma that they put themselves in, is that they're sitting here and they're like, damn, we accidentally made a 2-deck meta at the worst time when the ban list was supposed to happen. Do we really want to force everyone to buy these 2 decks, or do we want to play the nice guy here and say you can have fun, but at a cost? We're going to have to push the ban list at a later date, so then we can hit these decks as well, so then we can get back to the open meta state. And I think that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. And I honestly believe that's why we just don't have one yet, and that's why we don't see any teasers or anything like that. And I think that's why, if you look at OCG, right, they were, I believe that they were at like a pretty decent meta or something, and then the Shuju stuff came out, and then Mayhem went crazy or something. I'm not sure. Like, I know that they were in a tier 0 with Sprite, and then they moved to tier limits, stuff like that, and the Shuju stuff, but they got their ban list really quick, because I think they're in a healthy meta state, or they need it to hit certain things for it to be in an open meta state again. And Master Duel is the same way. They see that they're in a pretty healthy state right now, so then they're going to hit again with another ban list to try to open up that meta pool again. So yeah, but for us, we're just in that weird gray area where it's just like, should they do it or should they not? I personally think that, thinking about it in this perspective, yeah, they're doing the right thing by pushing it back. I think they're being smart about this, and this is actually a good way that they're going. Because another thing that I think that they're probably trying to avoid is also they're trying to avoid a potential emergency ban list. Because you got to think about it. From like a work perspective, right? They probably have to go through so much paperwork, so much approvals, and so much signatures to get these things implemented into the game, to pretty much get a ban list out. And they probably go through so many play testings and all that kind of stuff. So for them to do all that and then release a ban list, and then immediately right after that find out, hey, we're in a 2-deck meta, a lot of people hate it, we're losing players, we're losing money, what do we do? Emergency ban list. Now we gotta go through all those signatures and all that kind of stuff again. You know, first time quality is thrown out the window, and now it looks bad on them. And then a month later they have another ban list out, and they're like, please come back to the game. You know, like, it just looks bad. So I think that they're trying to avoid that as well. And yeah, like I said, at first I was upset because I'm like, where's this ban list? But now I'm looking at it from a business perspective, and I'm like, okay, this is actually really smart what they're doing, and I hope it makes sense. Like, I'm sorry I couldn't like draw a chart or something like that, but I think I did a good job explaining that. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I think earlier in the last video I said I was going to start making videos about combos and stuff like that. I'm not going to do the one about the Tri-Brigade Sprite. I'm going to hold that one off, but I think I'm going to do the one for the Virtual Well, because a lot of people are curious of how to do that. And also, I'm thinking about maybe bringing my girlfriend's camera to the tournaments that I go to, and maybe not live stream them, just because that just does a lot. I have to like get a laptop, which I have one, but I just have to get the laptop and everything and set it up there, get it all, you know, do this whole shenanigans to live stream it. So I thought maybe I'll just take the camera with me and, you know, my tripod here, and just set it up, record the tournaments that I play in, and then just post them. If you want me to do that, if that sounds good, just let me know in the comment section and stuff like that, and I will try to get that I'll try to get that situated, if they allow me to do it. I'm not sure, but you know, I think they'll allow me to do it. But yeah, other than that, like I said earlier, it's your second reminder, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video, and peace.